They say karma has perfect timing. I never believed it until the day my ex-husband walked into my boardroom, fumbling with his presentation notes, desperately needing a contract that could save his sinking business. The same man who once told me I was just a housewife. The same man who said I lacked ambition. The same man who left me for a woman he called driven and successful. He didn't recognize my name on the meeting invitation. But when he walked through those doors and saw me sitting at the head of that table, let's just say karma doesn't just arrive. She makes an entrance. This is my story, and it starts 20 years ago when I was young, naive, and completely in love with a boy named Tony. My name is Sonia, and I came from wealth. Not just comfortable wealthy. My father owned properties across 3 states. My mother drove luxury cars before I even knew what a Mercedes was. But Tony? Tony came from a village where electricity was a luxury. He got to university through relatives pooling money together, each contributing what little they could spare. 20 naira here, 50 naira there. That's how Tony made it to college. And that's where we met. I still remember the first time I saw him in the library. Worn textbooks, shoes with holes he tried to hide. But his eyes had this hunger. Not for food, though I'd later learn he often skipped meals. No, it was hunger for something more. For a better life. For dignity. I fell in love with that hunger. My friends warned me. Sonia, your parents will never approve. They were right. But I was 20 years old and believed love conquered everything. What a foolish, beautiful belief that was. I shared everything with Tony. My allowance became our allowance. While other girls bought new clothes and shoes, I was buying Tony's textbooks, paying for his meals, making sure he had bus fare to get to class. My roommates thought I was crazy. Maybe I was. But when Tony looked at me with those grateful eyes and promised, Sonia, I'm going to make you proud. I'm going to give you the world, I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. We graduated. Tony became an orthopedic doctor. I wanted to work too, to build something of my own. But Tony said, let me establish myself first. You've done enough, my love. Now it's my turn to take care of you. So we got married. And that's when reality hit like a thunderstorm. My parents didn't attend our wedding. My father said, you've made your choice, Sonia. Now live with it. And live with it, I did. Tony's doctor's salary barely covered rent. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood where gunshots were our alarm clock. I got pregnant, then pregnant again, then a 3rd time. 3 children in 5 years. Do you know what it's like to be hungry while pregnant? To choose between buying baby formula or paying electricity? I do. I lived it. I did everything. I sold food by the roadside. I washed clothes for neighbors. I braided hair in our tiny sitting room while my children crawled around my feet. Meanwhile, Tony worked at the hospital, coming home exhausted and defeated. The worst part, my mother knew. She'd send food. She'd pay our children's school fees. She'd show up with bags of clothes and envelopes of cash, always when Tony was at work. And every single time, Tony would cry when he saw what she brought. Sonia, he'd say, tears running down his face, I promise you. I swear on everything holy. One day, I'm going to make you the envy of every woman. You won't have to beg your mother for help. I'll give you everything. I believed him. Every single time. Then, in our 14th year of marriage, fortune smiled. Tony started a side business in oil and gas. Within 3 years, we went from struggling to pay rent to owning properties. From 1 car to 5. From that tiny apartment to a mansion. At first, it was everything I'd dreamed of. Tony would change my car every 6 months. Which color do you want, baby? He'd ask, grinning like a schoolboy. He bought properties and put them in our joint names. This is ours, he'd say. Everything I have is ours. I stopped working. After 15 years of hustling, I finally rested. I became what I'd never imagined I could be, a full-time mother, a housewife. For 5 years, Life was golden. Then the gold started to tarnish. It started small. Tony coming home at 11 p.m., then midnight, then 2 a.m., then not at all. Daddy's working, I'd tell the children. But they're not stupid. Children never are. Why doesn't Daddy eat with us anymore? My youngest would ask. I had no answer. The breaking point came during a business trip. All of Tony's colleagues were bringing their wives. I insisted on going. I fought for it. God, I wish I hadn't. Tony ignored me the entire trip. He was always with her. Janet. Young, beautiful, ambitious Janet. She worked in real estate. She was driven. She was going places. She was everything I used to be before I gave it all up to raise his children. When we got home, I confronted him. I'll never forget what he said. Janet is the kind of woman I need, Sonia. She's ambitious. She's driven. She's making something of herself. And you? You're just a housewife. Just a housewife. The woman who fed him when he was hungry, who paid his fees when he was broke, who bore his children, who washed his clothes, who waited up at night, who believed every promise. Just a housewife. I cried. I reminded him of everything. Our beginning. My sacrifices. The years of struggle. My mother's help that kept us alive. He smirked. Actually smirked. That was then, Sonia. This is now. Move on. He bought a house in another part of town and asked me and the children to relocate. I refused. I fought. Until one afternoon, passing by my 15-year-old daughter's room, she had called out to me with a quiet and hollow voice, "Mummy, why does Daddy suddenly disregard you? Is it because you're not as rich as he is now?" My daughter, my baby girl, asking why her father didn't respect her mother. That's when I knew. My children were watching, learning, absorbing, and I was teaching them that a woman's value disappears when she's no longer useful. That night, something shifted inside me. Not anger, not bitterness, something quieter, deadlier, a resolution. I remembered who I was before Tony, before marriage, before sacrifice. I remembered the girl who took care of a broke boy because she had strength to spare. That girl was still in here, and she was done being small. I took the children and moved to the house Tony bought. It happened to be in my hometown, the town where I grew up, wealthy, confident, and free. First thing I did, I called old friends. "I'm back," I said simply. Within weeks, my old life started returning. Not the money, the network, the connections, the women who remembered who I was before I became Tony's wife. One friend owned a footwear import business. "Sonia, I'll give you shoes on credit. Sell them and pay me back." I started small, very small, selling shoes from my living room, then from a small store. Then I started exporting. Tony filed for divorce. Irreconcilable differences, the paper said. He let me keep the 5-bedroom duplex. How generous. I signed without fighting. Let him have the properties, the cars, everything we'd built together. I didn't need them anymore, because I was building something else, something that was mine. My business grew, not overnight, not magically, but steadily, month by month, deal by deal. I was exporting shoes to 3 countries, then 5, then 10. Within 3 years, my company hit 9 figures. Meanwhile, Tony's oil and gas company collapsed. Government issues. The company fled the country. Tony started a new business, but it wasn't the same. He wasn't poor, but he wasn't rich either. And Janet? She filed for divorce the moment the money problem started. Funny how that works. Then I met Silva, a widower, a billionaire, a man who'd given up on love until he met me at a business dinner. "There's something about you," he said. "You radiate peace. That's all I want. Peace." We fell in love slowly, carefully. He helped me expand my business. We became partners both in life and business. We opened a manufacturing branch in South Africa. It exploded beyond our projections. I was spending more time there, managing our fastest growing branch. And that's when it happened. I was in Nigeria briefly for a board meeting. Silva told me someone had submitted a proposal while I was away. He's here for the pitch meeting this afternoon. I walked into that conference room, and there he was. Tony, older, tired, desperate. Our eyes met. I watched the color drain from his face. I smiled. Tony, it's good to see you. How have you been? The staff looked confused. You two know each other? Neither of us answered. Tony's pitch was terrible. He stammered, lost his place, couldn't meet my eyes. The confident man who once smirked at my tears was now fumbling like a student before an exam. We didn't give him the contract. Not out of spite. He genuinely flopped. Later, Silva asked gently, who was he? My ex-husband, I said simply. Silva just nodded. No questions, no judgment, just quiet understanding. I heard later that Tony desperately needed that contract. His business was drowning. Bank loans going bad. He lost his houses, everything. He had to move back to his father's village, to the one remaining house on family land. Janet? Gone. Apparently, she couldn't carry the load I carried for over a decade. Today, my business with Silva spans 7 countries. We have 2 children together. My older 3 have welcomed their younger siblings with open arms. My daughters? They're watching different lessons now. They see a mother who rose, who rebuilt, who didn't need revenge because karma is its own architect. Sometimes Tony crosses my mind, not with anger, not with bitterness, just quiet acknowledgement. He wanted an ambitious woman. He left the one he had, not realizing she'd simply been dormant, not dead. You know what the strangest part is? I'm grateful. If he hadn't left, I'd never have discovered what I was capable of alone. I'd never have met Silva. I'd never have built an empire that was truly mine. Sometimes a closed door isn't rejection. It's redirection to a room with better furniture, with better company, with better love. I'm Sonia. I was once called just a housewife. Today, I'm a CEO, a partner, a mother, and a woman who learned that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming so successful that your past can't afford your future. And that's the sweetest karma of all.